So friends, respected guests, SUNY Old Westbury students, faculty and staff, and members of the greater Long Island and New York community. Welcome to SUNY Old Westbury's Promise for Tomorrow, a special introduction to Dr. Timothy E. Sams. Now, like you just heard in the announcement, I'm Matt Cohen, president of the Long Island Association. But before I get to tonight's festivities and all the good things that we're going to talk about, I would like to take a moment to recognize and honor the Reverend Calvin Butts, who we lost recently. The Reverend was a giant of his time. He served his faith and his community with great passion, great dignity, and his work has had a transformative impact on Long Island by educating future generations and advocating for our region's economic growth. He's had a remarkable life, remarkable career, remarkable man. I'd ask you to please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. So you may wonder why I'm here emceeing this event for SUNY Old Westbury today. For those that don't know what the Long Island Association is, the quick LIA 101 is that we're a nonpartisan, nonprofit business organization that represents the business community out here on Long Island, advocates for economic development, new jobs, and really the overall betterment of Long Island. I'm here because in the beginning of, Tim became president in the beginning of 2021 in January, and at the time when I met him at the LIA, I was vice president of government affairs and communications. But then I was promoted that May, and Tim had joined our board when he became president here, and I got the opportunity to meet him better, and strengthen our relationship. You know, he's on the LIA board of directors. It's not a paid gig. It's unpaid. He volunteers his time. He offers input. He's there to partner. We're very blessed to have him. He cares about Long Island. He cares about education, economic development, training the future workforce, and he cares about creating or fostering a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive economy here on Long Island and throughout the state. He's had quite a career, but you know what? At the end of the day, I just think he's a good guy. I like him. He's down to earth. He's dynamic. He's funny. He's normal. He's smart. He's genuine. You know, it's rare sometimes in these these circles. So I value it a lot. And so I value his input at the LIA as a colleague, and also I'm proud to be his friend, and I look forward to continued partnership with him. So because of the recent pandemic, Dr. Sams did not have the usual welcome that most college presidents receive when they start their role. And while, you know, this affected a lot of the pandemic affected a lot of folks in different ways of missing things, graduations, college experience, et cetera, we have a chance to right that wrong today for Tim, and I'm very happy we can do that. So the college wanted to finally provide an opportunity to bring us all here today to learn about Tim, but to also learn about one of Long Island's best kept secrets, and that's SUNY Old Westbury itself. For many of you guests, this is likely the first time you've been to this amazing campus, which covers more than 600 acres. And I encourage you to come back to the college during the day to see all its beauty, see the students all around, and see everything that it has to offer. But for now, I want you to learn about SUNY Old Westbury and why this secret can no longer remain such a secret on Long Island. We wanted to make sure you had a complete view of the college, so we brought in a renowned journalist. Some of you may recognize her from TV, Ms. Eva McKend, who's been a national politics reporter for CNN's Washington Bureau since 2021. She's known for her pointed questions to people in leadership and has served as an on-air congressional correspondent for Spectrum TV. As you'll see in her bio, Eva's been a news correspondent and has worked across the country. Today, she's making a name for herself as a hard-hitting journalist who isn't afraid to ask the questions that people want asked. Eva's a graduate of Swarthmore College and Syracuse University, and if you didn't know, is also a former student of Tim's, which is what's going to make this more fun, I think. Hopefully we can learn something funny about him. And so getting back to Tim, Dr. Timothy Sams is the 6th president of SUNY Old Westbury. Beginning his tenure, like I said, in 2021, he spent over 3 decades improving student success, in particular for students from marginalized communities. Prior to joining SUNY Old Westbury, Tim was the vice president of student affairs at Prairie View A&M University in Texas, the senior vice president for student development at Morehouse, vice president for student life at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, and led the Black Cultural Center at Swarthmore College, where he also taught an inspiring journalist, Miss Eva McKend. So tonight, Dr. Sams and Ms. McKend are on the stage together to discuss Tim's goals and vision for the institution that he now leads, and leads very well, by the way. At the end of their discussion, we will open the floor to hear from you, the community, about how you envision SUNY Old Westbury partnering with the community and with our various institutions to help strengthen Long Island for tomorrow. Now, please join me. Big hand. Welcome to the stage, SUNY Old Westbury President Dr. Timothy E. Sams and CNN national politics reporter Eva McKend.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. This is truly a full circle moment for me to now be here interviewing President Sams, because when I was at Swarthmore, he was my dean, so I still have to get used to that. And then, of course, we just lost Reverend Butts.
Right.
And my family is a member of Abyssinian Baptist Church. I've always heard about SUNY Old Westbury, but I've never been here. So this is really an awesome opportunity, and thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here.
So let us begin. Matt gave your introduction, but you have had a 30-year career in higher ed. Mm-hmm. What prepared you for this moment?
It took 30 years. If I went back to each of those institutions, I can tell you that two things stood out as I reflect upon those institutions. The first is the quality of each institution. One of the things that I was fortunate to be able to do was to select the institutions that I wanted to go to. You know, it's kind of hard to do that, right, in a just job market in general. But I was blessed to be able to do that, and in selecting each institution, I select those institutions based upon their mission and their work. But I also, secondarily, was able to select the president at the same time, and as a vice president, that becomes almost, paramount. You select an institution, but you select your boss as a vice president. So what stood out for me was that at each institution, I tried to align myself with the mission, but I certainly chose an institution and asked each president at those schools, regardless of what level I occupied at that school, to mentor me.
Now, this is an all-encompassing job.
Yes.
I think you said I've been reading all the interviews that you've done, and you said this is one of the most difficult jobs you can have as a college president.
During COVID, especially.
Mm-hmm. As this community here on Long Island is getting to know you, when you're not working as the college president, what else should they know about you? What do you do in your non-existent spare time?
I think most folks know that I'm going to say ice hockey. But I'm a believer that, and this is true from my experience, that your kids' hobbies become your hobbies if you're invested in the work that they do. And that's just been my life. It's interesting, during undergrad, I drove the Zamboni. For those of you, some folks know that that's the ice resurfacing machine, right? Never good enough to do it for games, but always for practice. So I had an ice hockey experience during undergrad, but my son has us fully immersed. Our weekends are spent traveling in the Northeast and in the Midwest, attending hockey games.
That is so cool. Isn't that cool?
Yes.
It's pretty cool. So why this university at this time? You've worked at Morehouse. We met at Swarthmore, NYU in Abu Dhabi, Prairie View. Why SUNY Old Westbury?
The answer is alignment. When a person becomes a president, it's so important that their reason for doing their work. And for me, my 30-year stint as a student affairs professional has been focused on four areas: access, diversity, student success, and impact. And as you well know, I'm a staunch believer to whom much is given, much is expected. And what that means is that when an institution pours into its student, they should also put a high expectation upon that student. It's not just simply around the issue of success, but also around do something important, right? You're familiar with that. We did that at Swarthmore. Those four principles drove my career. So when I set out to pursue a presidency, I had to find an institution that was about access, that was about diversity, that was about student success, and built itself around the success of its students, and equally important, about making a difference in this world and graduating students who set out to do that. This was the first institution to just make it abundantly clear that it was about those 4 elements of my personal mission. When I look at our mission, full alignment with the mission of SUNY Old Westbury.
That is so important. That is so important. So this place that is rooted in social justice, you said to a student in an interview that it's not enough for it to just remain Long Island's best kept secret. So how do you work to that? How do you tell the world about this hidden gem?
Yeah. Well, I think some elements about our being a hidden gem are just simply about exposure. All we have to do is invite people to lift the hood, so to speak, of the university or the college, of the college, and to discover that we have so much going on, right? I think the second piece is about how you prioritize the work of the institution. It's hard to get an institution to focus in a way that really leverages its assets. Mm-hmm. So we're focused on doing that. We have a distinctive mission, as I spoke about a second ago, and even the video spoke about the fact that our mission is unlike many other schools. But when you delve into that mission and you begin to say, let's leverage it, mm-hmm. that in and of itself is going to make us distinctive. We have as an aspiration, I have as a vision, I'll put it that way, I have as a vision to be a premier public liberal arts minority serving institution. What that means, the thing that's easy about our getting there is we're the most diverse SUNY in the system. Mm-hmm. Arguably among the most diverse institutions across the country. So we already have the diversity. That diversity is what we focus on in our student body and our faculty and our staff. Our mission enables us to focus on it, from access, making sure the right people have access to this place, making sure that we're not closing doors, we're open apertures for our students, for our faculty, for our staff, allowing them to become great. We're leveraging that mix of people by the programs that we use to animate, again, our mission. Those things are really easy to do because we have the right mix of people, we have the right mission. We just have to really invite people to come, see what we got going on, and I have no doubt that they'll be as excited as I am and as we are around this college.
Tell me a little bit more about this vision of yours, especially building on the legacy of Dr. Butts.
Yeah. So, embedded in your question is it tough to follow such a person as that? And the answer is, I'd be crazy not to think it's tough. It is very difficult. Some part of what I have to do every day is not think about that, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. right? Because if you try to follow a man like that, you'd say, I'm not going to work, right? So I try to make it to work every day, so I don't really think about that. But what he's done is provided a tremendous foundation for us. My responsibility is to leverage that. Mm-hmm. So if I can talk for a second about going back to a vision of a premier liberal arts, public, minority serving institution. We get to that premier status by thinking about the key elements of our mission. That is access, that is close education, critical thinking, community engagement, diversity, and what I call cosmopolitanism. That's the character of our graduates, right? And then an unwavering commitment to social justice and environmental justice. Those are the pillars. Those are the pillars of our mission. All we have to do is make sure in every element of that pillar, we are focusing on leveraging our capacity, focusing on making sure through partnerships that we are doing our best to make sure we do every one of those aspects of our identity impeccably well. That's what will make us premier. The second piece of it is, it lies in how we establish and work to succeed in terms of our priorities. The first priorities are about becoming a strong institution. The second set of priorities are about our ongoing responsibility, civic responsibility to respond to society's calls for us, right? And if you think about the last 2.5 years, society has asked a lot of us,
It
right?
has.
What has emerged over the past 2.5 years, we've now more than ever have come face to face with our stratified society, right? The disparity that it exists, the inequality that exists, including racial injustice. We've also recognized that we are tearing our planet apart, right? We are poor stewards of our planet. Finally, we realize that we have to do better with taking care of the health of people around our country and around the world. As a public institution, we have an obligation to respond to those challenges. We here are doing that. If you look at the slide deck that we had for you, you will see almost categorically we responded. We're responding by providing more teachers for the state of New York, more child care for the state of New York. We just secured a grant from SUNY, from the state, for $1.5 million to build a new child care center.
On campus?
On campus,
Wow.
yes.
Okay.
And what we're doing is to train more and more teachers. We're putting a laboratory within that child care center so that our students can go there every day and learn how to be the best early child care providers across the state. We already have a pronounced biology and chemistry program here. We lead the state in graduating students of color almost 3 times the state average in biology, right? So our responsibility is to leverage that to meet the emerging needs that society has for us. And so what we do is we create new programs. We create an OW STEAM program that enables us to build a pipeline so that we can bring more students through that highly accomplished biology chemistry program and graduate more. And we do that across the fruited plain of the college in a way that we leverage what we already have going on. We tackle the priorities that the state has identified for us, and once we do that, we're going global. And what I mean by that is we are one of the few schools, and I don't know how many people know this, we are one of the few schools recognized by the United Nations that is charged to focus on the developmental goals. So we are expected to not just tackle our local problems, we are actually expected to tackle global problems. That will come as soon as we get our focus on the statewide and regional kinds of challenges.
Great, great. So I'll just ask you a few more questions so we can open this
Okay.
up. What has surprised you? You've worked at a range of institutions. What has surprised you about this one?
That hidden gem, right? You know, for me, I'm the kind of person, you don't hide greatness, right? And I understand it, particularly from a social justice lens, where humility is an important character trait. I understand that, right? But in the work that we do in educating young people and transforming lives, and most importantly, asking them to change the world, you can't hide that. Everybody needs to understand what we are about here. Everyone needs to understand that we do great things day in and day out. Whether it's the people who put today's event together, the people who caretake, steward our buildings, the people who teach in our laboratories, who teach in our classroom. People need to know that something very special takes place every day on this campus. Our graduates are the testament to that special work, but I don't want that to be a secret. But that is what surprised me.
So everyone in this audience is rooting for your success.
Oh, well, I hope so. I hope so.
How can these folks help you do the best job that you can do for this institution?
Through partnerships. Part of the reason we have this opportunity is so people can understand the ways in which we really invite them to partner with us, from scholarships that enable students to have that access to transformational education, to helping us craft and develop programs, to leverage the programs that we already have going on, to providing our students transformational internships, to providing them employment, the kind of employment that will give them great jobs so that they can donate back to our college. So there are a range of ways in which people can partner with us. We also believe that we have a value add to the work that they're doing as well. We prepare some of the brightest critical thinkers on the island. We are the only public liberal arts college on this island. And that means that every day we train leaders. Leaders who fan out across this island, across New York State, and those folks need to be allowed to lead. We train them to lead. Don't bridle them. Open up their potential, allow them to get there, and let them lead in your organizations, and you will never, ever forget it.
Well, lastly, I have to ask, why is this evening so important to you? Why did you want to have this type of gathering?
There's a few things. I think the first thing is, again, I'm one of those presidents who came here, and may be a little crazy for doing so, during COVID. And in fact, I was sharing with someone today, my first day on the job was the first time I had ever seen this campus.
Wow.
Because even during the selection process, I wasn't allowed to visit. So I took a leap of faith, but more importantly, my family did. That's a whole lot of trust, right, in their father and their husband. Thank you, Franita, wherever you are. I hope you're in here. But again, the first reason is that hidden gem that we talked about. This should not be hidden. There's so much that is worthy of investment, worthy of partnership, and anyone who puts their time and energy invested in us will get an ROI. The second piece is, I was surprised by the degree to which students cherish their relationship with their faculty.
I
Right?
saw that today a little
Yeah.
bit as I was meeting students on campus.
It is absolutely amazing. When I ask students why are they here, the first thing, the second thing, and the third thing that come out of their mouth is the faculty. Now, when I ask the faculty that same question, the first, second, and third to come out of their mouth, students. That's not everywhere. That's not everywhere. And then the final reason I would say is because we got a lot to improve in this world. There's a lot of misery, right, around this world. And I want to be at an institution who takes that personally. And that's why I had to be here.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, President Sams.
Thank you very much.
I'm so thrilled for you. I think, maybe, Matt, are you ready to come back out? And
Didn't rehearse this. We're done with the questions? Okay.
Yeah, let's open it up.
All right, thanks, Eva. Thank you, Tim. That was really awesome, right? I think we could all see why I said he's so likable, and he also has an inspiring vision for the college. You know, I think we get along so well in the LIA board because we share a lot of the same ideals. What you announced, what you shared about the Child Care Center is truly awesome. You know, at the LIA, we talk about how child care is an economic development issue, not just a family issue. You know, it's an economic development imperative. We saw that even more get illuminated throughout the pandemic, so I think that's really wonderful that you're doing that. I also just want to give a quick shout out to say that you have a great team here. Angela, Jeff, Penny, Mike, Danielle, and everyone else that put this together really did an amazing job. And so now we'd like to hear from all of you. You heard what Dr. Sams had to say about the college, its amazing students, its outstanding faculty and staff who are developing and implementing new and cutting-edge advancements for the future. So how do you see SUNY Old Westbury impacting the future of Long Island? What could the college be doing to help strengthen Long Island, or education in general, or the workforce, or research? What insight can you provide to us tonight that can assist the college and Dr. Sams in its efforts to continue to lead SUNY and Long Island in new and exciting ways? So if you could please just raise your hand if you have a question or a comment, and someone will, is that David Manning? Someone will come and give you and just please stand when you get the mic.
Thank you very much, Matt.
There you go.
Well, Dr. Sams, as the Canadian, David Manning, Brookhaven National Lab, As the Canadian here tonight, there is a special place in heaven for a hockey parent. So I know that you have been lacing up skates at 5 and 6 on Saturday morning for a lot of years, because that's when the little kids get ice time. So hats off to you, sir, on all of your many attributes. Very quickly, from the Labs perspective, we obviously are thrilled to work with the school, but can you tell us how you're going to be inspiring students, young women students, students of color, to pursue STEM? This is a wonderful liberal arts college, but you just alluded to your STEM aspirations. So if you could just talk a little bit more about your STEM vision, because Matt, this goes right to the innovation core that you talk about every day, talks about the future of the island. So how do you inspire these kids to not only maintain their interest, their liberal arts background, their ability to communicate, but also an interest in STEM? Thank you.
Well, good to see you again, Dave. I think the first part of it is you start with tremendous faculty. Now, there are a few faculty members whom I could point to right now and really convince you that they're among the best you'll ever find. Again, I would say that our students come here because of our faculty. Why do I say that? This past weekend, we had open house. There's a transfer student from another local college. And I asked her, why are you looking to transfer? Her response was, because we know when it comes to biology, no one does it better than you here, right? So something about our faculty is resonating with potential students. We just got to make sure we crank that up. That's number one. As a former biochemistry student who turned history sociology, one of the, and I bet if I asked people to raise their hand and say to them how many started out as a STEM student and was weeded out in Orgo 2, we get half of the folks. It was Orgo 2 for me, too. What I would have benefited from was a pipeline program, right, that taught me how to have grit, how to have resilience, how to leverage the assets within the department to provide me with a mentor, which I needed. These are the things through our OW STEAM program we're gearing up to provide to every one of our students. Our students already have close educational relationships with our faculty, and that is kind of what I alluded to. But when you talk about STEM, there's a lot of insecurity along the way to accomplishing your goals within STEM. To erase that, we want to dial up the relationship between our faculty and our students, making sure it's rewarding for both the student and the faculty, and making sure that we can continue to track their success. We graduate students, again, in biology, somewhere around 57 to 60%. That's 3 times the rate across SUNY, which is 19%. 3 times. We want that to be 80%. So if through our OW STEAM program, we are able to get them are interested in STEAM, bring them in on the front end, even to include a summer experience, just like an educational opportunity program. Bring them in with a couple of credits, have them go through the STEAM program at the same time they're being mentored and they're having undergraduate research opportunities, the kind that you had at Swarthmore. We are absolutely certain that we will be able to produce the kind of student that you would be breaking your necks to get at Brookhaven Laboratories.
Another question or comment? Just raise your hand, then someone will bring you a mic.
Good evening, Dr. Sams, Dr. Monique Dariso, Akil, Superintendent of the Uniondale School District. First of all, I just want to say we are so fortunate to have the caliber of leadership that you bring to this institution. We're very thankful that you're here. So representing the pre-K through 12 part of the educational spectrum, I'd like to know what are your plans to deepen the relationships with the institutions in Nassau County in particular, so that our students see themselves as viable candidates in a 4-year institution and do not undermatch into institutions that will not be named that I don't think serve them best.
Yeah.
And particularly students who might have struggled in some ways academically and also need a lot of social supports, particularly those who are first in their families to go to college. So can you just speak a little bit about that? Thank you.
I think, as you know, we've been doing that for over 50 years. That's exactly what we do here at Old Westbury. I think you also know that I'm an opportunity program student. I was a HEOP student in undergrad. I was also an Upper Bound student, right? So I'm very familiar with taking advantage of opportunities. One part of answering your question is to make sure that we're leveraging our EOP program here. We can certainly grow our program. We can open that door for students who may need that type of support in order to be successful. The second thing is we are continuously refining our enrollment strategy here, making sure that more and more students understand the great opportunity that we present for them so that they don't go to those other kinds of schools that you alluded to, right? And then thirdly, our success story has to be broadcast. One of the things we know that particularly for the populations we serve is that when a young person goes off to school, their family generally goes off with them, right? And many times these students have been told, that's the school you're gonna go off to, right? So the more we are able to help people understand that we do what we call close education here, which means the vernacular with student affairs is that we will not let you fall through the crack. In fact, we won't let you dive through the crack and undermine your own success. The more we are able to refine the ways in which we can guarantee that, at the same time broadcast that across the state, I feel very comfortable that those folks who will greatly benefit from that type of educational experience, that type of commitment to their success, where we will do everything to make sure, come hook or crook, you get across that stage. The more we do that, I absolutely believe those students will come. Because they've always come, and we've always graduated, but we could use a few more. Yeah.
Another question or comment?
Hi, can you hear me? It's nerve-wracking on a mic. It's so nice to meet you. I'm Michaela Linder. I'm the Senior Director of Research at the Fortune Society. We're a community-based organization in New York City that serves approximately 9,000 people every year who have a history of justice system involvement. It's just nice to meet this community. I'm a person who wasn't aware of the gem, so thank you for the invite. So my question is, how are you currently, or how do you plan to support your students who have a history of incarceration and justice system involvement? And also, how are you seeking to hire and retain employees who have a history of justice system involvement?
Excellent question.
Great question.
Excellent question. I don't know if someone planted you, right? I think we are now in our third week of Thrive training. We've partnered with Thrive, and it's an honor for us to be able to partner with that organization. Thrive is an organization that helps women who have been incarcerated to find educational and employment opportunities. Not every school can become a Thrive school, am I right, Angela? And I want to thank Angela for bringing Thrive to us. Awesome. We have some 70 folks right now, 80 folks going through Thrive training, representing every segment of our campus community to do exactly what you're saying. It's not just an enrollment issue. It's not just about providing access to the campus. In order for them to be successful, every person across our campus has to be not just invested and committed in their success, but knowledgeable about how to do that. So we have 80 folks going across, 4 weeks? 4 weeks, to be trained on how you not only matriculate, but work to ensure the success of previously incarcerated women in our campus community. So I don't know if somebody told you to ask that question, but I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to laud ourselves in that way. Yes. And the second part of your question was about employment. We're also in the Thrive training talking about how we employ and make sure that they flourish in our environment at the same time. One more thing, since you're talking about access, the rubric under which your question exists is really an access one. We just signed up with Dream US. Some people know who Dream US. For those of you who do not, it is a DACA-based program that enables us to provide scholarships to, and according to Dream US, any DACA student we matriculate here at our college. That's another access issue. We got to Dream US because we have done very well with our Silcox scholars, which is yet another access program with the Silcox Foundation, who provides full scholarship and mentorship for those students who struggle to not only gain access, but to make it through the undergraduate experience. And when you go back to your question, Eva, about why not?
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. When you have an opportunity to be at an institution who does that for its students, I'm game.
Yeah.
I'm game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
I believe she was next, and then Lionel.
Hi, my name is Georgette Greer-Key, and I'm alumni here, class of '02. And I had the honor of being, during the 50th celebration anniversary, I was one of the 50. So I cherish that time. I cherish being a student here with Dr. Calvin Butts, but I wanted to attest to the relationship that you have with your professors. Mm-hmm. Catherine Bernard, I graduated with the visual arts program, and I always laugh about this because when I came in, I was labor law, and I hated it. But you know, students are not always encouraged to go into the arts, right. But my mother came to accept it, and I was able to change my major. And so the relationship with my professors and her feeling secure with them, it let me change. And I wasn't going to starve, because that's what she thought, artists don't starve. So I really just would like to attest to Catherine Bernard, Tricia McLaughlin. These are the professors that I have known and still see them in the summer. In the Hamptons, no less, at the arts festivals. So I want to shout out the arts, because I think this school has a legacy of musicians and artists that are world class. And so when you say STEAM, I hope you say, include the arts in that,
yes,
because
exactly right.
It's
yes,
really
right,
important that we have that opportunity. And I can't keep talking without giving a shout out to my high school principal, Dr. Wilma Tootle, who I almost gave her a heart attack during school, but I made it, and it's amazing for me to be sitting here with her, but also to welcome you and the legacy of this school and what it means to our communities across Long Island and abroad. And I'm so impressed with everything that you said, and anything that I can do, I'm here. I'm always here. I'm giving lectures, and I'm just really thankful that in your time that you saw the true essence of this school, because that's what it is. And it was so vital to a student like me who had other ideas, but I really thank you, and I just wanted to give a shout out to the Visual Arts Department and hope that funding is going there too.
All right, we have time for just one more question. I did see Lionel's hand up first, so, or over there, okay.
Hello.
Two more questions, okay? Two more.
I'm sorry. I think I can say a little word. Faculty here, my name is Alireza Ibrahimi Ali, and I want to thank Dr. Sams for nice comment about the faculty. I wish my fellow faculty were here to hear that. And
they're here. I see some of them.
all of them. I meant all of them. You know. But you said about the gem. I think we believe in that. We know that we are hidden and jewel of Long Island, or we are in the Gold Coast also, and we've been the best or four-year college, the first of public first school here. And also, as you mentioned, we still are the first public liberal art. And I want to thank McKend, Ms. McKend, for taking time to be here. And I want to ask you, what can you do for us? I know I'm supposed to ask President. I know I'm going to ask him, how can we make this jewel to be known for his mission, for his value, for his vision? Thank you.
Well, I'm sold. I'm certainly going to be talking about SUNY Old Westbury and try to be a cheerleader for the institution now that it is a part of my life. So that's sort of the best I can do. But you're in very good hands with this man. Do not underestimate the leadership that he can bring to this institution. You're in really good hands.
And just to confirm what she said to us about 2 hours ago, she said, I need an OW sweatshirt.
Yeah, I said, where's
so
my
she can
sweatshirt?
wear it in public. So she's going to wear it on CNN. Okay? I'm sorry. Yeah. But I do want to say something about what Ali pointed out. You asked me about surprise. Mm-hmm. For me, there's no way you can have an accomplished set of alumni without accomplished faculty. Amen. Right? You just can't, right? And, it's easy to dismiss that relationship, right? Because no graduate gets to greatness without going through faculty. That's just a fact. So while I expected to find tremendous faculty, I think what I was surprised by, to be very honest, was the degree to which they're committed to the mission of this institution, right? And so what that means is we have faculty who are just standalone brilliant, right? But also are committed to having their brilliance have meaning and impact in the world. And we can go across this room, and again, their research interests, the things that they're doing, and I, because we don't have enough time, I could have gone down a list of things, and we've splashed photos with some descriptions of some of our faculty work, but there's a long list of accomplishments in and among our faculty. And when we talk about that relationship between the student and the faculty, that's primary to the success of any institution. So, Ali, thank you. I knew the faculty were out here, and I'm glad they corrected you. But we're blessed. We're blessed to have them just as much as we're blessed to have our students.
Yeah. Okay, so Angela approved an extension for us for 2 more questions.
Okay.
I keep promising Lionel, and then I think there's one over here, or one in the middle.
We had
If you don't
Bishop here.
if you don't get a chance to ask him a question, I'm sure he'll be happy to talk to you afterwards.
Thank you again. Lionel Chitty, I'm the Executive Director for the Nassau County Office of Minority Affairs, and also a proud alumni, President of the Alumni Association. I know what I got out of the college, which I didn't expect, but as you can see, it still worked and I'm still here. How could you encapsulate, how would you tell a current incoming student what they're going to get out of the relationship with this institution and also with yourself?
Okay. Thank you. I don't know if they plan at you as well. We are working right now on what we're calling the own experience, right? Old Westbury experience. What it is looking at the student holistically, looking at every facet of a student's development, growth, leading to success. Realizing that what's needed in the world today is a student who is more than just smart in their domain, but who has multiple skill sets, who have what we call executive functioning capabilities, right? As well as who has a personal mission, has a purpose, right? We are convinced that we have the ability here to do all of those things for our students. Not just to graduate them, but to graduate them and to present them to the rest of the world as someone who has exceptionality. What we are looking to do is to focus on what happens to that student the other 8 hours outside of the time they sleep, the time they spend in class? How much of the remaining 8 hours can we take up? And what do we do there? In your area, you're familiar with micro-credentialing, badges, certifications. That's what we're talking about. So at the core, we know we graduate brilliant students. You just saw a Fulbright up there, right? And she talked about the relationship in the laboratory with some faculty person, right, that got her to that. But we would say to her, we want your brilliance to be accentuated with technical skill sets, with executive functioning skill sets that are about how you manage yourself as a leader. How do you present yourself in a way that others don't have that ability? And so we're preoccupying ourselves with the other 8 hours, providing certifications, providing thematic learning experiences that deepen their experience and teaches them the associated skill sets for their chosen disciplines, right? Having faculty have another angle of contact with them, while at the same time moving beyond our award-winning first-year experience that really says to them to be an OW student means that you have to do something important in the lives of other people when you graduate. We now get to say, we're going to teach you how to do that. We're going to train you on how to do that. We're going to give you purpose. We're going to have you identify your purpose so that when you graduate, you go on and be great in that regard. Yeah.
There was one last question.
I'm Bishop Philip E. Elliott, pastor of Antioch Church in Hempstead, and serve on the college council here, and was blessed to be a part of the search committee for Dr. Sams, as well as our chair lady, Millie Makajana.
Right here.
Just left out, is right here, and we thank God for her leadership and other college council members who are here today. Thank you. My question is more of an acknowledgement that can be interpreted as a question. That is the hidden gem, SUNY Old Westbury, but the hidden germ in Nassau County is non-equal opportunities. And to the extent, so we prepare our students, and if the doors are still locked, we still have a problem. Now, I'm not here to I think this has to be said if we're going to do justice to this conversation. And so much, but I want to make the comment that Dr. Sams has been meeting with the Commissioner of Police because there are not African Americans or minorities in the police department. He's been meeting with us to get the criminal justice curricula here adjusted to help prepare minorities to be able to pass those tests and get meaningful employments in those areas that we're not able to. Contracts, as Chitty has my old job, contracts are not going to, not just are you getting jobs, but you go into business and then you want contracts or subcontracts. It's not happening for minorities. So you're turning out good students, but the opportunities are not there. So the challenge, I'm not being negative, I'm saying that we have critical stakeholders in this room here who can, as I seek to do, open up doors for Dr. Sams and his team to come out and establish those relationships so that students can get some mentorship and some, what do you call it when they get some work on the job while they're in?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, those kinds of internships, yes, those kinds of situations. And then I think that because it's frustrating to get a degree and to be qualified and then find that the door is locked. And so I like to challenge us in my conversation to partner with Dr. Sams and his team to make sure that we unlock those doors. Thank you.
You know, Matt, let me just say one thing. To piggyback off what Bishop Elliott just shared, and to go back to Dave's original question about STEM, we're well aware at LIA that we are going to be an epicenter for green technology. We are well aware that we have a governor who's clear about 2 or 3 main things. 1, chip manufacturing. 2, child care and teacher education. 3, workforce development. We here at Old Westbury are realigning all of our efforts to be able to play in all of those areas, right? Why is that important? Because the door that Pastor Elliott talked about has to lead to those opportunities so that the community that he's talking about is not left behind. And so we have to function as a portal to make sure that these opportunities that we all know are here, not even on the horizon, right, are accessible to those populations. And that is a role that we have to play here. But when we talk about partnerships, like a Brookhaven, when we talk about partnerships like a Northwell, those partnerships have to be part of not just opening that door, making sure that portal works, and getting folks into those opportunities. So when we move to the piece that discusses partnership, it's not just helping us. It is about a mutual relationship where we are clear about the goals. And we work with our respective expertise, leveraging our capacity to make sure that those folks are not left behind in these emerging opportunities that we're becoming so familiar with.
Well said. Before I ask Tim to join me at the podium, Anissa Moore is here from Nassau County. She's here to give a citation on behalf of Nassau County to Dr. Sams.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you know about this part.
No, I didn't know. We're whispering. We didn't know about this part.
Good evening, everyone, to all of the distinguished members of the audience. My name is Anissa Moore. I am the Deputy County Executive of Health and Human Services. And tonight, this evening, on behalf of our County Executive, Bruce A. Blakeman, we pause to recognize the importance of public higher education. Yes. So tonight we celebrate you, Dr. Sams, and you can come up at this time. We want to pause to recognize your leadership, your vision, your advocacy, your commitment to student academic achievement, as well as personal development. But we also pause to recognize your commitment to remain grounded in the framework of social justice. And so tonight we can proudly say as Nassau County that you are no longer, this college, this institution no longer remains as a hidden gem. But today we are aware of the fact that now we can open the door because you will have a partner in county government. We look forward to future partnerships with you. We look forward to finding creative and innovative ways to provide the resources that you need to move this institution forward. And so at this time, on behalf of Bruce A. Blakeman, it is my pleasure to present to you a citation for your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I want to find that guy for crime program.
Oh, you don't have to. Oh, they want us to take a picture over here.
Okay.
I knew this was coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. He has to take it back to the.
Yes, gonna take it
county
back to
event,
the
yeah.
county executive. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Hi, nice to meet
All right,
you.
Tim, you could keep standing because
thank
it's
you.
your turn at the podium.
Thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Good evening again, everyone, and let me say thank you from the bottom of my heart for your being out here tonight, for your spending time not thinking it was robbery. It's a little cold out there, and yet you made it. You came today. I want to say thank you to Matt. Matt, So I can go on and on about Matt and my evolving relationship, but one of the things, I'm just going to tell you about this guy. When he came on board as the president of LIA, he spoke to every single board member. Every single board member. 90. Wow. And one of the things I said to him, or excuse me, what he said to me initially was, I really want to get diversity right in LIA. And I said, well, I'm here to help you. And how many times in my profession, I don't think you know, I do diversity within higher education. I've heard that so many times. So much so that it goes in one ear and out the other. The way he has moved folks onto the board is a clear demonstration of his commitment to diversity. And in fact, it is so obvious that folks around the table are saying, whoa, he was serious. The complexity of LIA has changed overnight. It's wonderful, it's interesting. The conversations I've had have shifted as a result, but I can tell you that in terms of addressing the kinds of issues that are near and dear to us as a college, I'm clear that we have a president at LIA who will be a robust partner for us going forward. And I want to tell you how much I appreciate your being here tonight. I understand you didn't even bat an eyelash when you were asked.
I was honored.
Yes, well, we're honored to have you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And likewise, I am honored that Eva decided to do this. We knew we were asking a lot, particularly during the election season, right? But what I also know is that in spite of CNN's best efforts, she fought back and said, I still have to get up there to Long Island. I can't continue to tell you how impressed I am, because at some point it'll be too much. But we are really honored that you thought it not robbery to be here tonight and to ask me questions. Thank you for your presence. And someone asked me if I was scared. I was not scared till she and I got on the elevator, and I realized the questions that we had talked about. She said, I'm not sticking to that script. I said, oh, gosh. So thank you so much, and it is great to see you again.
Good to see you.
I just want to thank those who organized today's activity, this evening's activity. I also want to thank those who spent the last week buffing up the place for you. It was really important to them that you see who we are, what we are about. This evening is not about me. This evening is about a venerable institution called SUNY Old Westbury. And every person here comes here every day to do something great for our students, for our faculty, and for our staff. This is not about me. I am honored to sit in this role. But everything that happens is because of all of the faculty, staff, and students who occupy this space. And I'm not foolish to believe that this moment is exclusively about me. You can call it what you want, but for 55 years, this school has sat here with a unique, audacious mission that can never be lost on you. Folks here are serious about a vision for a better world. And every day they wake up, coming here to do their part to make this institution stay true to that mission. And so I want to thank everybody who made this moment possible, especially those who are not here because they're tired, right? They're tired from preparing for this event. So we hope you had a great time. I hope, was the artist here in the gallery? I hope you had an opportunity to meet, is she here? Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for being here. And thank you for your tremendous work. It's compelling. It is compelling. Thank you for that. On the back of your program, you're going to find a business card with contact information of one of our staff members. We really want you to use that. There are staff members in our Division of Institutional Advancement. We wanted this evening to be about a reintroduction to many of you and an introduction to the rest of you about a great institution called SUNY Old Westbury. Our responsibility is to really enable our students to thrive, to succeed, and to graduate. I think you understand that it takes a village to enable that to happen. We're asking you to be a villager. We're asking you to be a partner. That's not what, I'm not supposed to ask that right now, but we really, really are not going to be able to do it without you. Faculty play a role, students play a role, staff play a role, but so too do stakeholders in making this project called SUNY Old Westbury go right. We invite you to use that card to contact us, and we hope that when we reach out to you, you'll receive our phone call or our email. If you are so inclined and moved to help us with our ongoing efforts, on the back of your program there's a QR code. If you click on that QR code, it'll direct you right to our support page. We want you to click on that QR code often, enthusiastically, right? And make sure you click on it a couple of times before this tax season is over, so you can get that break. But it is really important that you understand our students need your support. Our faculty need your support. So please, as you thought it not robbery for you to be here this evening, please continue in that spirit to think it's not robbery for us to ask you to support our success going forward. Finally, I want to thank our College Council. I want to thank our foundation. Our foundation funded this evening's activity. And I want to give you a round of applause for supporting this evening's activity. And now I'm just going to read from here. Now as you make your way out of the theater, we invite you for a few more moments outside to enjoy some coffee and some dessert and some final conversation and parting words. I don't want you to be upset when Eva and I leave in 30 minutes, okay? Because we have dinner to go to, all right? Thank you so much. We really appreciate your presence. We hope to see you very soon and very often. Thank you, and have a great evening.